how do you think that like nursing has changed since the pandemic started?
I wouldn't say really much change. I think since the pandemic, people gained a lot of respect for nurses and what we do.
Okay.
Because you can see how frontline we are and how much more, how much we take home, not from just being at work and being stressed at work because of the overload, but we actually get attached to our patients,
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of what happened was when COVID started, our visitation had stopped. So along with us having to deal with patients dying by themselves and, family not being able to come see them, we took a lot of that home. So I think a lot of people gained much more respect for nurses since the pandemic, because I get a lot when people say, now that I'm like, people see I'm a nurse, they're like, thank you for what you do, like as if I served in the military or something.
Yeah.
Right. But I think a lot of respect, we gained a lot of respect from people, from what we do.
Yeah.
So I would say that's the only thing that changed. But I mean, we're still saving lives. We're still doing what we do. It's just almost like we're in a different land now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
But I think that's the only thing I can think of that's changed, at least positively. That's what changed, is we got a lot more respect from people, especially doctors, So
yeah.
That's what I mean.
But I think that it would definitely look a little bit different because, the global scale is a little different. Like,
most definitely. Yeah.
So it is, I guess, a different thing where, and I'm not sure how you guys work, but going from, having tons of people in the hospital, like visiting, to having like nobody visiting. It's just regular patients, right?
Yeah. Oh, and since we thought it got a little better, they started allowing people to come visit the non-COVID units, but you would limit like only one visitor a day, and you can't leave and come back. So it's still stressful with that. But even still on the COVID unit, there's no visitors, so it's a lot. Then you got family calling all day because they can't see them.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a lot.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, us nurses, if you ask the nurse, we'll be like, okay, we kind of like not having visitors. Still got to deal with the phone calls.
Yeah.
But, it's okay. It's like a little joke. We're like, we kind of like having our visitors, but we know how much it means for you to be in a hospital by yourself, and you want family to be. You need that support. You need that emotional support and family to be there for you. So we understand how much stress it is on a patient to not be able to have family come visit. So that's on us to be that emotional support for them. When we know you're not doing well and you can't see your family, that's on us to be that support system, to be that nurturing, person to try and, keep you as comfortable as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. So that actually, I guess, goes towards like the barriers and stuff. Like I know that beforehand, before the pandemic and stuff like that, there was a whole set of challenges being a nurse to begin with. So now that, there is a like pandemic and it's pretty much nothing that anybody can do about it, are there new sets of barriers that you guys have to face outside of your day-to-day? Like new sets of help?
I would say, I think that is one of the main challenges, is because speaking to family and, I don't think they really understand that, we're not the ones that diagnose the patient. We're not the ones that, give them the medicine. Well, we give them the medicine, but we don't, order the stuff. That's all the doctor. So when, they call and they're like, I need an update on this. I want to know. We know that you're stressed because your family's really sick and, you can't come see them. But sometimes we don't know until the doctor comes in and sees the patient. And so, doctors are seeing patients all over the hospital. So sometimes they come at 10 in the morning. Sometimes they come at 12 in the afternoon. Sometimes they come at 6 o'clock at night, you know? So it's almost like, yeah, she's doing well, but I don't really know what to tell you until the doctor comes in. So that's a challenge, trying to update family when, you know, especially a patient just comes in and we don't know a plan. We don't know what's going to happen. So we don't really know what to tell you aside from what we see or what, you know, we can, you know, do without a doctor being here. So I think just speaking to family and trying to get them to understand what we can do as nurses, what we have control of, and then they get frustrated because we don't have a lot to say to them. But I think a lot of families do understand, but then you have some that are just like, a little bit, you know, right, you know. Yeah. So I think that's one of the challenges, is just trying to get family to understand that we can't call you every hour, you know, because especially with the shortage of nurses right now, you know, we're picking up more patients than what we're supposed to. So we don't always have time to, you know, update 5 or 6 family members a day. So I think that's one of the challenges. Another one is a lot of nurses don't feel like we're getting paid what we should. So you've got where we're like staffing, because I work for a specific hospital. So staffing hospitals get that we lose nurses to like travel money. You know, nurses are quitting to go make travel money when travel nurses get paid maybe like $5,000 a week, you know, rather a staffing that have to stay, you know, in one hospital, you know, just has that hourly pay. So it's really putting a lot of strain on our hospitals and the staff that we have. So I'm in a progressive care unit, so we have more sick patients than usual. So our nurse to patient ratio is like 4 patients to 1 nurse. But sometimes we have to take 5 patients because we don't have enough nurses and nobody can come in. Yeah. And of course now with nurse, you know, call in sick, we have to take that serious. So you can't come in if you're sick, or you know, they're taking everybody's temperature when they come in. So if you have a temperature and you get turned away, you know, that's 1 less nurse that we have. So just the shortage of nurses we have is a real big challenge, because you literally walk into work scared because we might have more patients than what we normally should have. And it's like, okay, today is going to be a rough day, but you know, we got to make it happen. So it's definitely a lot of challenges.
Yeah, I would say it's a few barriers. Yeah,
it's a few. It's a lot. We can go on and on about all of it, but I would say the main one would be the first one I said. Just, you know, trying to get family to understand, you know, what we're dealing with. You know, especially because they can't come see their loved ones. So especially in Arizona, when it gets snowbird season, we had a lot of snowbirds last year, you know, that were sick, and you know, all their family is in a whole nother state, and then they're out here and sick in the hospital. So that was a tough one last year around winter time.
So you've been going through, I guess, all those different challenges, all those different barriers like that. Like, do you think that there is ways for conditions to improve, or it's just like just putting a Band-Aid on the situation and just kind of letting it ride out? Like, is there any way
at this point, I feel like that's what it is. You kind of got to put a Band-Aid on it and let it heal on its own. Because we thought it was getting better. We thought we were getting better after last season, and then, you know, vaccines came, and we thought well, numbers were going down, and we thought things were getting better, and we started, you know, lifting mask requirements, not in the hospital, but just statewide, lifting mask requirements, and allowing visitors, stores opening back up, And then all of us, we thought we were getting better, and we thought everything was we thought we were going to be able to stop wearing masks in the hospital at one point. But now we just got shot with a whole nother wave. So at this point, we don't know. It's like, we thought we were fixing it, and now we got to try and fix it again. So it's like, we don't know. That's what it is. We're trying to just put a Band-Aid on it and see where we go from there. So it's hard.
So do you think that I guess that high and low, do you think that that's like a lot more frustrating for, I guess, nurses and stuff like that? Because it's like, okay, 1 week, it's level, but next week it's double what it was the previous week. Do you think that's kind of frustrating sometimes? It
is. And what I noticed is that it kind of goes up once we hit like holidays, people having gatherings, but right before Independence Day, we were kind of going down, and then right after 4th of July, we got hit with, a whole bunch of sickness, and there was people that were having gatherings, and then of course summer's here, and you have summer parties, you have pool parties, people are gathering for summer stuff. And it started going up. So we're already expecting Labor Day. It's going to go up. We got Halloween. We got Thanksgiving. We got Christmas. Pretty much where flu season hit, because all of those gatherings hit. We feel like we're kind of preparing ourselves now for it to hit us hard after all these holidays. Because we know, you can't stop people from having gatherings. And I wouldn't stop anybody from having. I have gatherings, but of course we're careful. The only thing we can pretty much say is, if you feel sick, stay home. Of course they say you can spread if you're asymptomatic, but what's the chance of you coughing when you're not sick versus when you are sick, So your chances of spreading something when you are sick is higher than it is if you're not sick. Majority of the time, if you're asymptomatic, you're not really going to be coughing or sneezing on people, So that's the best thing we can pretty much do, is just keep ourselves safe and stay home if you're not feeling well.
Yeah. Yeah. So even in your field, do you think that you guys got to take a little bit more precaution because of the fact that, y'all got people to see and stuff like that?
That we take more precautions?
Yeah, like nurses and stuff like that. Do you guys take like more precautions because of the fact that where you guys work?
As far as personal life, or just
just in general. Just in general. Like even personal, or even like, I know hospital wise you do, but even personal, like, do you guys take more precautions because of the fact of where you work?
I wouldn't say take more precautions, but I would say I'm gonna take the advice that I give everybody else. Like, if you don't feel well, stay home. But obviously, I can't keep my kids from going to school. I gotta work, So I'm going to send my kids to school. If they don't feel well, of course, I'm going to keep them home. But they gotta go to school. We have to live our everyday life, So I gotta go to the store. We gotta do other things. I like to travel. I'm going to travel. I'm not going to stop my life because of what's going on. I encourage people, like, at this point, I feel like everybody needs to do something fun with your life. Sitting in the house can be depressing, sitting in the house and, being isolated from everybody can absolutely be depressing. So of course, everyone deserves to have some type of getaway or some type of, get together or whatever. I would say you just do it cautiously, So get tested if you're going to go travel, before, of course, you have to get tested before you travel, So take those precautions. If you're going to have gatherings, make sure if you want people to wear masks, or, if you want them to get a test before you guys have something, get that, I would say those are the kind of precautions that I take, but it's not like I'm out here living recklessly, but I just take the same advice I give, is if you don't feel well, don't go out.
Yeah. Which is taking the necessary precautions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. But I did get vaccinated, and of course I main reason why I got vaccinated is because my job was like, okay, I gotta get vaccinated before November, or you know, you gotta resign. So I pretty much got vaccinated to keep my job. But I didn't like not want to get vaccinated because, you know, I didn't believe in it or anything. That wasn't the case. I was afraid to get vaccinated because I was afraid of what it was going to do to my body. You know, because I can't tell you what it's going to do to your body. I can't tell you, you know, what kind of symptoms you'll have because everybody reacts differently to it. I can tell you what it did to my body. I can tell you what I see, what I have seen, but it'll be wrong for me to be like, you need to go get vaccinated. And then you get vaccinated and then you have this severe reaction. Yeah. Then, you know, how that's going to make me feel bad. So I'm like, everybody has their own reasons why they don't want to get vaccinated. And if you don't want to get vaccinated, I completely support you. If you do want to get vaccinated, I completely support you because there's a cause behind it, you know? Yeah. So it's supposed to protect you. So I'm like, if you are vaccinated, then you're protected. It has nothing to do with anybody else. You can still get it. Mm-hmm. Of course, we still get people coming to the hospital that are vaccinated and test positive, but it's supposed to keep you from dying, they say, from it. Yeah. But, you know, you still hear stories out there that people got this, that, and the other from vaccines, but you can get this, that, and the other from the flu shot. You can get this, that, and the other from any vaccine they give you as a kid. But it's just a risk you take. You take a risk when you get any kind of medication from the doctor. You don't know how it's going to affect your body. Yeah. So I'm like, you know, that's why I'm a your body, your choice type of nurse. I'm not going to sit here and say, you need to take this, you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to do that. No, I'm just, you know your body better than we do because you've lived in it your whole life. So, you know, who are we to tell you that you need to do this, you know? So I just say, listen to your body. And if you're sick, stay home. If you feel well enough to go out, then, you know, so be it. Yeah. But that's just how I feel about it. Okay. My own personal opinion.
Okay. So what's that jewel that I guess that little nugget that you would tell new nurses that are just about to step in and start their nursing career? Like what do you tell the new nurses that come into the hospital or that you've seen? What do you usually tell them about nursing?
At this point, I feel like you, as a new nurse, you definitely learn a lot with everything that's going on. You're going to, I say the pandemic right now, as a new nurse, everybody tells you, oh, you got to start here. You got to start in med-surg. You got to start here. But I started in progressive care, and I think that was like the best decision I could have made because you learn so much when you start in a critical care unit. And I was scared to start in like critical care or progressive care because I was just like, what if I don't know what to do? You know, if somebody codes, or what if I don't know what to do in this situation? But you absolutely learn stuff like that. And if you work somewhere like this, then you can work anywhere you want to, you know? So just not being afraid to get out there and do it because you don't know what you're going to do. Sometimes we all don't know, but majority of the time, if you're in a situation where there's something traumatic going on, you're not going to ever be alone. Like if somebody's coding, majority of the time, everybody's going to run in there. Yeah. So you're never going to be alone. We're always, anywhere you go, there's always people really ready to help you. And, you know, but when I first started, I did start in COVID, and I wasn't expecting it because I agreed to go into neuro stroke. But when I started, of course, we had a COVID unit. Mm-hmm. So I think one thing I had to learn was tough skin, but to an extent, because I wasn't expecting to see so many people that pass away. And I literally was going home crying. And so I had to learn, still have tough skin to where you're tough enough to speak to family, to speak to the patient, literally we talk patients to their death, because they were just in it was like a comfort care thing, if that makes sense. So tough skin to where, okay, we still got to take that home, but you need to be strong enough to speak to the patient, speak to the family, and speak to the doctor, and know what to do after it happens. So I was always afraid of that when I first started. So I would just say, in this type of situation, when you're dealing with COVID and working in COVID as a new nurse, you got to kind of have some tough skin, but to an extent, like I said. You don't want to just be super unemotional.
Yeah.
When it comes, you want to be sympathetic, of course, but you can't sit there and be crying in front of the family and patient, of course.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But there is times where it's appropriate to, if cry in front of your family member because you just can't help it. Y'all can cry together, but sometimes we still gotta work even after that happens. But we do take that home with us, so definitely gotta have some type of yeah.
Yeah, I think they call it compartmentalize.
Yeah.
Like they put that in like your own place in your mind so that you don't really focus on that part.
Yeah, but I don't think they should, like, as I was scared to start in something like this, but I'm glad I did. Like, just don't be afraid to just put yourself out there and start in something like critical or progressive, I should say. Like, don't settle.
Yeah. I
guess that's the word I'm looking for. Like, don't settle, because you'll learn more when you go above and beyond. So,
okay.
I think that's the only thing I can think of to tell a new nurse. I'm still I'm only in my first year, so
yeah.
I just made my year in my job yesterday or today. Today's the 8th.
Congratulations.
I just made a year. In my job today, so I'm still new to the whole thing. But I started smack down in the middle of COVID, so I learned so much, and I'm glad. I love what I do. I love doing what I do. It is stressful because it's a lot going on. Yeah. And I wish we had more nurses that can come help us out. But that's the only thing that's stressful, is the amount of work. The workload is what's stressful, not the actual stuff that we do, because we already know what we're prepared to do when we come to work. It's just like how many people we gotta do it on. That's just the stress load, is the workload.
Yeah.
So, but I absolutely love what I do.
Yeah. So since you started nursing to right now, are there any benefits for being nurses? Like being a nurse? Are there any new features of any kind? No? Yes, maybe? Kind of? Extra off days?
I would say not off days, definitely, but because of the staffing issue, there's so much money that they're throwing at us.
Okay.
Like, we have incentive pay where they're like, okay, if you pick up a shift today because we're short staffed, we're gonna give you emergent pay, which they'll probably pay you $30 on top of what you get, or they'll offer some type of incentive for you to pick up more money. So that's a plus, of course. And then you have because of everything that was going on, you have the government that offers so much, because I know they offered free childcare for essential first line workers. So I ended up getting a scholarship for my kids because I was a frontline worker, so that they can go to daycare. So they're currently in a scholarship for that. So it's little stuff to help appreciate nurses. Like Starbucks has a nursing day where they give free coffee, stuff like that. So it gets like that. But yeah, most definitely the incentive, because they need nurses so bad, they will offer you whatever you want to pick up a shift.
Okay.
Yeah.
So last question: what is the best part about being a nurse? Like, what is it about nursing that you absolutely love? Like, the reason why you love that job?
I would say just being able to make people feel better.
Okay.
Because it makes me feel good to go to work and take care of patients, and they just are like, just tell me how much they appreciate how much we do. Yeah. And you can tell when some have had bad experiences, and then you come and you make a difference. So I would say just making a difference, and you know somebody, they're not being in the hospital isn't comfortable. Yeah. So when you go above and beyond to make them comfortable for however long they have to stay, and they show your appreciation, they show their appreciation.
Yeah.
That makes me feel good. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing something, I'm making a difference in somebody else's life because of what I'm doing. And we get like gifts. They send us flowers sometimes just to let them know how much they appreciate us. So they might not always remember your name, but they're always going to remember that nurse that did this for me. That nurse that did this for me, you know? And they'll, I think that's just like the main thing is of me being able to make a difference in someone else's life based on just me doing my job. Like I'm just doing my job, but you appreciate it, you know? So yeah, I think that's a lot happens, especially with, you know, the whole everything that's going on. So just not being that mean, grumpy nurse sometimes, then they appreciate that. So yeah. I like making a difference. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the main thing is when they actually appreciate what we're doing, then we know we're doing it right, you know? So, yeah.
But that's good though. 'Cause like you said, for what you guys do, like I said, of course you guys deserve a lot more pay because you guys, like, it's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot. And that's kind of why I wanted to put together something like this, especially for the people that are out there doing the difficult like jobs and still helping people and still like maintaining their own day to day while helping people. It's an amazing thing. Like it really is. So definitely thank you for that. You're
welcome.
an awesome thing for everybody. So definitely thank you for having this conversation with me.